Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Failure Effect, a show about reclaiming the word failure and turning it into success. This week, we're hanging out with a young lady with an absolutely absorbing story. It's so absorbing that she has even turned it into a book. The book right here is called Thriving in Second Chances, and it is all about everything that she has seen and experienced in her short life, which is the story that we're going to discuss today. And later on, we'll tell you where you can find a copy of this book. But in the interim, welcome to the show, Winnie. How are you?
I'm fine.
All right. Would you
Thank
please
you
tell
for
us?
inviting me.
No worries. You're absolutely welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your full names, what you do, and what it is that inspired you to write, just very briefly.
I'm Winnie,
Yes.
Winnie Nyambura, or you can also call me Winnie Washira.
Right.
I'm 27 years old, an SEO finance blog writer, and also educator, planning to become a financial coach within an year. Yeah,
Wow, that's a lot of ambition. And you're 27 years old.
yes.
All right. And a lot has happened in your short life. You've seen more than, I would say, even the average 60-year-old would have seen, you know? So let's start right at the beginning with your childhood. What was the one significant event that changed your life, tilted it, and took it in another direction?
So it began at 2000. I'm born 1996. So in 2000, I lost my mom. Yeah, that is the major event that has really impacted me up to now. So my mom passed on and my dad was involved. Though if you want the details, you'll find them in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, so after my mom passed on, I was taken by my shushu to Molo. We used to live in Limuru, so we went to Molo, and life begins there.
Okay. So why didn't you continue to live with your father?
Well, he was involved
Okay.
in the loss of my mom, so they had to take me away from him.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So you went to live with your maternal grandmother?
yeah.
Okay. Aha. So next, what happened next?
So I went to live with my grandma, and she took me to her sister. I was schooling with one of her granddaughters, and after some time, after completing nursery school, I went back to my maternal grandma, and I began schooling in Bishop Dingi. It's in Molo, around Baraka there, and that's where I was schooling from. And I have a bit of experiences, a bit of failures there. And one of them happens, in 2005.
Okay.
So I had my grandpa around, and he used to take good care of me, and he loved me. And I felt like I think they took the place of my mom. They would take good care of me. And I have significant events that I experienced with him. One of them was the way he could wake up early in the morning and give me milk to drink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
Yeah.
It's it created good memories, good childhood memories. And also he used to take me to the bus stop. I would be picked by the bus, come back. Yeah. Although I lost him in 2005,
Okay.
yeah, he was suffering from diabetes. And I was so angry
Yeah.
at him because he left me. And I came to reconcile the whole scenario actually this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, early this year. I used to feel like he betrayed me or he gave up on me.
Yeah.
But this year I came to understand as an adult that at time that he fought so much to be there, but it wasn't possible. No diseases, illnesses, and all that. Yeah. So after that, 2005, we continued to live with my grandma and the relatives that were around in the compound. And school for me used to be a no. I
Okay.
just used to go to school, but I didn't take keen interest in studying and education and all that.
Right.
And in class 6, my grades were not that good. I never used to perform so well. And I would come maybe in the last 12 students, the last,
Right.
yeah. And actually, that was not even average when you look at the number of students, because I think we were around 40 or something like that. So our mathematics teacher, he was the principal by the time, he was called Mr. Juguna. And he made like a rule that if you're not going to hit 60%, you're going to get some strokes.
Okay.
And I remember my name used to appear like almost all the time.
Oh.
And so just before I got, after we did the last exam in class 6, I remember waiting to hear my name when he came to class with the sheets, with the results sheets. And I thought, no, again today, I'm going to be flogged. So I started rubbing my hands, and he
Right.
continued calling the names. He called the names, and I was not there. I was like, how am I not here? Because for me, school was routine, and I actually didn't even get why we needed to hustle so much, read so much. Yeah, so my name was not there. And for the first time, I was not flogged, and was like, how can you get 60%? And, yeah, but I was moved to my aunt's place. That is the sister to my mom. She's
Okay.
called Esther, and I call her mom because
Okay.
she was so caring. She always looked out for me and encouraged me. So I went to the new school. The school is Tigonide, and it was a new lifestyle. Those students had another life, another world. Like I couldn't understand. In the previous school, we used to take lunch only, and it would be maybe githeri or ugali
Yeah.
and cabbage.
Yeah.
And the cabbages were, they were so big.
Yeah.
It was a good, well-performing school, but the standard was not. So I came to this school where students can take ugali and skuma. If you don't take skuma, you can go and take cabbages. I'm like, hey, where am I? And then there's tea at 5. There's bread. If you don't take jam, you can take blue band. And I was like,
Wow.
which world am I in? I was used to the life. Like they didn't take much interest into what maybe we ate. I'm not sure why, but right now they've improved quite
Okay.
a lot.
That's
Yeah,
good to know.
I checked out the school. They have so much. Yeah, so in Tigoni, I maintained the same ideology about education, and I will just come to school, go back, come to school, go back. And then this one time, a motivational speaker was invited. I don't know whether to call her a motivational speaker. She goes by the name Mrs. Mogambi. And she started telling us that, do you know you can accomplish a lot with your education? And I started realizing, So I'm just listening, and I got interested. And from that point, I started changing my mindset that I can do something and change my education. And she gave us a strategy of you can maybe schedule a timetable and try and work hard, or even consult teachers and all that. And I began working hard. And by the end of that class 7, I remember I had 299 marks.
Wow.
And I was like, so I can get from 270 to 50s, and come to, like I can increase my marks. And I remember telling my friend that, you know what, if I can get to 99, I'm never going to get below 300 again. Yeah, and I went back home, and my aunt kept encouraging me, and she would pray with me. She would tell me, keep working hard. I know that you're going to make it, and I know you're going to get a good KCPE grade. Yeah, so the husband was also there. He used to support me a lot. Actually, the name Winnie Washira comes from him.
Okay.
I would ask for books. I would go and tell him, Dad. I still call him Dad. I would go and tell him, Dad, I want Longman Mads, I want GT, whatever. And, I would name a lot of books. And he was there almost driving away from home. And he would be like, what else? And he would go and bring them.
Wow.
So I think it's for me, it's a second chance to have them parent me, to have my grandma also parent me. Yeah, and so I kept going. Although in 2009, now when I got into class 8, after getting the 299 marks. So when I got into class 8, there were some family issues, and they really affected me. And I remember almost after doing my mocks, I got 365.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to be moved from my aunt's place to my great grandma's place.
Why?
So there were some issues with the family, and they had to relocate.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had to make a few arrangements, go to Naivasha. And so, I had to complete the KCPE
Yeah.
exams. So there was nothing else they could do. They wouldn't take me with them to that place. So I was taken to my great grandma's place. It was in our plans.
Okay.
Yeah, she passed on, and I'm grateful because she has also impacted my life. And so after like a few weeks, again I was moved.
Oh.
No, this time around I didn't know where I was moved.
Okay.
But I was moved back to Limuru,
Okay.
to a friend, to my biological mom.
Okay.
And so I pushed through. The movements were a bit
Disruptive,
crazy
I can
for me.
imagine, yeah.
They were a bit crazy for me. I'm used to my mom, I'm used to my dad, and their kids. So they even take me as their sister. So, and the whole change, and but I persevered through, and I also kept. I was a bit I focused on the tuition. I would go for tuition in the evening, come back, sleep early in the morning, go back to school, prepare for the exams. And I did my exams. I didn't know whether I was going to pass or I was going to fail, but I really wanted to just I had this now idea of I want to at least to get to a good high school. And I got 316 marks.
Okay.
Yeah, which I was so happy about because I knew with 300 and above, you're going to get into a good school in Kenya.
Yep.
Yeah, so after that, I went back to live with my grandma. And I got an opportunity to study in a Catholic school
Okay.
in Subukia, on your way to Nyahururu.
Yep.
So I was admitted. It was in 2010. Yeah, it was in 2010. So I got into high school and I began life there. And I went back to the usual me. It's just, I know I'm going to school. And,
Yes.
and this time around, it's boarding school.
Yeah.
So I have no one supervising me, telling me study. I have no one motivating me, like my auntie would tell me, you need to study, because she would wake me up at 5, I study and all that.
Okay.
And so this time around, I'm alone. And I'm back to the usual system. So first year, I went through it. I was an average student. The second year, I began experiencing intense depression symptoms and anxiety symptoms.
So
And
what did they look like? What did the symptoms? How did you know that something was off?
I couldn't point out it was depression, but then the fact that at times I would just go, there used to be tables behind our class where we would place the old books. Everyone had a space to arrange their books. And I remember sitting below the table and crying out of no reason. Like, even if someone asked me, why are you crying? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know why I'm crying. And then I also started I experienced a panic attack once inside the class. And our English teacher came in, and I don't know whether he was teaching prefixes or something like that. And it was a bit technical. So he was trying to help us out. And he asked, who needs help? And I made the worst mistake of my life.
Right.
At that time, I lifted my hand and he came to my desk. And the moment he began explaining, I felt out of breath.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I just wish he could just move out of my space and just go back to the chalkboard. And I couldn't really understand what is happening to me.
Yeah.
I would feel so tensed when I'm in social places, like when it's class time. I would be okay when we are going to sleep because I'm alone. Like everyone is asleep, I'm alone, and I would feel a bit like I'm struggling, to leave. I'm just struggling. And I remember now in Form 2, it got so intense that at one point, our chemistry teacher was teaching and he was writing a chemical formula. And I'm staring on the floor, just staring like that. And he calls me Winnie. And I just...
Startle.
Yeah, I just startled. And I'm like, yes. And he asks, which formula is this? And I give the correct name.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I gave the correct name. But then after that, my tears just started dropping.
Yeah.
And he asked me, Winnie, what's wrong? Who's disturbing you? And I'm like,
You have no idea.
yeah, I'm like, no. And I wouldn't even be able to talk because I'm crying.
Yeah.
I'm crying, but I wasn't even like making any sound. So he told me, just go out and get some fresh air. And I went out. And he referred me to one lady teacher who started counseling me. And she would call me maybe in the laboratory. We talk. She encourages me. She asks me personal issues and what is happening to you. And at that point when we were talking, I started discovering, I think I had been affected by comparisons. That was one of the things. Again, the loss of my mom didn't seem like it was an issue because I was a child. So people thought, she's okay.
Yeah.
But then I will keep thinking about it so much. Like,
Yeah.
how did it happen like this? Why did she have to leave? And there are times you will face things and you're like, I would have run to my mom.
Yeah.
But you can't do that.
And this is significant because you lost her at the age of 4. So, I mean, really, that's a very, it's very young. It must have been difficult. I am so sorry.
Yeah, but right now I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel that
Okay.
a lot of sadness. And
But wait, I have another question.
Yeah.
Apart from this lady teacher who would counsel you, did you have any other sort of support network? Did you have any best friends, close friends, a circle of other students? And how did the other students react to your panic attacks? Were they supportive? What was that like?
I think they also didn't understand what is happening.
Okay.
They only came to realize it in Form 3,
Okay.
which you're going to get to.
Okay.
When it got worse and I did something that,
Okay.
that shocked everyone.
Right.
Yeah, so where was I?
The lady teacher would call you and counsel you and speak to
so
you.
she will talk to me, and imagine I started like regaining that joy, and it's like I'm coming up again. But then she transferred.
Okay.
She got a promotion, and I remember the day she told me that she's going. I cried.
Yeah.
Actually, she held me. She hugged me. I really cried. I was like, so you're leaving. Who else do I have? I think I was looking at everyone and thinking, no one understands what I'm going through. No one knows what is wrong with me except her. Yeah, because we will discuss it and I will tell her, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm even supposed to do with my life. And she will at least talk to me, encourage me, and also share maybe some other personal things that would feel a bit of maybe talking to other students, and she will direct me, this is what you do when you get here, this is what you do when you get here. Yeah, and so she transferred. And now I transitioned to Form 3.
Right.
So I'm in Form 3 and I have no one to tell what is happening to me. I have no one to listen to all those issues. And at this point, I will get into class a whole 40 minutes. And even if the teacher decides that he's coming for a double lesson, I will just be there.
Yeah.
But I'm completely absent. I got to a point where I felt so tired with life. I wouldn't eat. I used to take bread in the morning I would squeeze it, put it in my jumper, in my hoodie, and just go back to class. I think I started now starving myself. I'll just
Yeah.
feel like I think I'm just tired. I'm just done. And actually, one of the classes I remember, it's this time when the teacher was teaching us about balance sheet, something, all those
Yeah.
things, all those math things, accounting things. And I didn't get a thing, a whole class.
Yeah.
So it was affecting my studies too. And throughout that period, I think the symptoms were getting worse.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time when I felt, I think I'm completely tired, and I don't know whether I was in another kind of world or what I can call it, because I was too tired. I took a sharpener, I removed the blade.
Yeah.
I took the blade, went into the bathroom, and I said, I just want to die.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't point out where the pressures were coming from that was making me feel like I'm suffocating.
Yeah.
But I think the panic attacks now had become like anxiety attacks. So I think it got to a point where I would feel now, this is too much. Because yeah, I remember this one instance before I decided to cut myself, where I had an anxiety attack. I was in the loo, and it was so bad, the racing heart, the thoughts that I am dying, I'm going nuts. Those are the kind of things that you experience when you're having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And I remember going on my knees, holding the sink, and telling God, God, forgive me I have sinned, if I have offended you, just save me. I don't know what is this, what is happening to me, and it is so intense that you wouldn't convince that person it's not happening.
Yeah.
But then you can tell that person that she's imagining. So after experiencing those things, I was taken to one of their relatives to try and help me. They have some knowledge in psychology, but then it's like they looked at me and they thought, this girl is okay. So they took me back with shopping and
Oh.
pocket money. Actually, I was taken to the supermarket and was told, pick whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, so they didn't understand
Yeah.
really what is happening. So when I got back, I think that's when now it got so intense that I decided I'm taking this blade and I'm cutting myself, and I
Yeah.
just want to go for good. So I went to the shower with my blade and I cut myself here. I still have that mark.
Okay.
So I cut myself, but I didn't know how to cut well.
Right.
So I'm seated in the shower, blood is coming out, but just a little blood. And my head starts aching. It was like a throbbing headache, and it was
Yeah.
so painful. And I'm like, I didn't want to die this painful death. So I decided, let me go to the sisters, ask for some painkillers, and then I'll just go and sleep. So I went, took the painkillers, went to the dorms, and I slept. And I forgot to cover my hand.
Right.
So one of the sisters came in and she saw me and she was like, Winnie, what is wrong? What did you do? And I looked at her and was like, oh my God, they know it.
Oh. Yeah.
And because she was a subordinate, she couldn't keep quiet.
Yeah.
She decided to go and tell the other sisters
Okay.
in leadership.
Okay.
So this time, it's like things are a bit chaotic because what has this girl done?
Yeah.
What was she trying?
Yeah.
So I go to class and the students are like, Winnie, we've heard you've cut yourself. And they look at me and they're like,
Oh.
how could you do this to yourself? I also didn't know how I could do that to myself. Because right now, if you told me such a thing, I would be like, hey, no,
Yeah.
that is not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the principal calls one of my relatives. And she's like, I think she explained everything. And so the relative calls back. That's my uncle. So he calls back and it's like, hello. I'm like, hello. And he tells me, so Winnie, what happened? And I go silent. I'm like, I'm not talking. What am I supposed to say? And he tells me that if you continue like this, we're going to take you to a day school. You'll be going to school at night because you have to wake up maybe at 3 or 4ish, and then you start walking until you get to the school. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to even to survive that? The fact that I didn't like the holidays where I will go to farm and maybe do some bit of plowing. I didn't like it. I was like, how am I even going to survive this? Because now it was going to combine the early morning walks in the dark plus the plowing. And I was like, I'm not doing this. And I remember that phone call ended there.
Right.
And I went out and was like, I just have to push through. But there was this one sister called Sister Stella. She would encourage me.
Okay.
I think she would see it, but she didn't know what to do about it. There are those people who will see there's a problem, but they don't know what they can do to help you. So she would encourage me. And at this time, now I tried to find a distraction. I began engaging in science congress, and I also got to vie for there was this challenge used to call the next big thing. The next big thing. It was I don't know to call it a challenge or to call it a what, where you would, if you have if you have an idea or ideas, you present them, and then you write it's like a proposal. You explain what you're going to do, what innovation you have, what can you do, and how can you change maybe the country, Africa, and all that. And I had 3 ideas. So I presented them. And I did this during the holiday. I can't remember whether it was term 2 or term 3. I did it, and my uncle was so supportive. The one, now I have his surname. So he would give me money, go to the cyber, and I would type, because they were asking a lot of questions. What is your innovation? You say maybe a specific gadget, and then he would ask, they would ask, how is it going to be built? What problem is it going to solve? And what do you see in it that will make it an outstanding idea? So I did that over the holiday. And completed the whole thing, like I think in a week or 2 weeks.
What was it? What was your innovation?
I had 3.
Okay.
The first one was an election method.
Okay.
That will be an automatic thing that wouldn't maybe cost people time going with IDs, using your thumbprints and all that. It was going to be a simple technology, such that you don't need to register, do all those things. They take a lot of money. To register at first, then come with papers. So it will be paperless.
Okay.
That is the thing. It will be paperless. And then the second innovation was creating cosmetic products that are from herbs. Like the natural herbs, like lavender. Like you don't have to add all this. You at times you look at those things and you're like, even some names I'm not able to read them. They're so difficult, and I'm thinking, so if this chemical, I can't even pronounce the name, how bad is it to my body? At times I get tensed about such things. And then the last one was a magazine, teenager magazine, where you will talk about. I was thinking about inviting professionals that have excelled in different fields, and they can encourage the students. There will be like such an interview, and they will maybe encourage the students, inspire them, and mentor them. So I was done with presenting all those pieces of information, and I came back to school. So I think it was around that term or second term. I'm not so sure about the terms. I can't quite remember. So at that time, I continued with school. So I'm getting encouraged by the sister, let's keep going. And then the distraction is also working on me because I love business so much. So I kept going, and then midterm break came. And as I was going back, when I went back home, I passed through the cyber. And checking through the names that were shortlisted, I realized I was part of the people who had succeeded.
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't like pushed out.
Yeah.
But then the date had passed to present the project.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Okay.
And I remember borrowing a small phone and calling the secretary who was coordinating the whole thing and asking her, what can we do? And she told me there's nothing. And I crashed. I cried.
Oh, and this is a project that had been holding you together, making sure your mental
Exactly.
wellness was assured. And now here it is. Oh,
Yeah, I
my.
was pushing through with it. And it went like that. And I was like, it's okay. I just went back home, sad. But then because I used to go to my shosho's shop during the holiday, if I was not going to the garden. And just went there, I thought to myself, this cosmetic idea, I can just connect with the Aramis director. Maybe he can buy it.
Yeah.
So I go to the wholesaler who used to sell my shosho, those Remis and all those
Yeah.
things. Yeah. So I go and ask him, um, can I get the number for the Remis company director? And he's like, huh? Why do you want the number? Do you want to sue him? And I'm like, how would a Form 3 sue a director?
Over Rimis.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
how? And he hesitated. And then he told me, um, I told him it's a good thing. And then he's like, it's a good thing. Then he gave me the number. I picked the phone number and I went. I'm still struggling with anxiety. So I picked the phone and I'm calling and I'm shaking. I'm like, this is a director.
Yes.
How dare you
Yeah.
call a director? And I called him and he told me, I'll be passing through Molo as I go to, I don't know whether I was going to Kisumu or somewhere like that. And maybe we can meet at that time. So the day comes, I have my papers, I have prepared how lavender can be so good for you, for people's health, lip balms and all those things.
Yeah.
And I come, I see a lorry, the ones that they carry with the cargo, whatever, those ones. So I go and he tells me, get in. And I hop onto the bus. And he asks me, young girl, what did you want to tell me? And I look at this guy and I'm like, hey, okay. You know the age.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at him, you're thinking, this is a man of stature.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to joke around and say, and I'm still anxious. So I start presenting the idea. I think the moment I would present those ideas and explain them to people, I think it used to bring, I don't know,
Yeah.
the lion in me or what I can say. Yeah.
Okay.
So I explained to him, and I'm like, I'm convincing him. He should buy this idea. We should work together. And after looking at everything, he listened so keenly. But after that, he tells me, for us, we don't deal with such. We only do pure
Milking jelly.
Yeah,
It's actually an
the-
agricultural business, not a beauty farm.
yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, but for Form
But-
3, I think I was
Yes.
still thinking of how I will be a great businesswoman. So I'm like, okay. And he tells me, you can talk to maybe companies like Valon and all that. And I'm like, I'm tired. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been trying to push through all these ideas and they're not coming through. Like, you know how much time it took me to assemble together this lavender thing, try to research, why
Yeah.
is it good? How is it relaxing? How can it be? And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
and then the printing and all that. So you see, like it had taken a lot from me. And I was so passionate and I was like so confident that it would work. So I just told him it's okay. And I moved out of the bus. I went back to my social's shop and I closed because
Okay.
it was almost in the evening. And I went back home and that's how my ideas
Oh.
went down, all of them.
Oh, no.
But I believe there's a second chance.
Yes. Okay.
Just like my book says.
Yes.
So I don't know when they're going to manifest, when I'm going to actualize them. But maybe one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. So I'm back to school. I have nothing to distract me.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's still these battles of anxiety attacks once in a while. And that's when I transitioned to Form 4.
Yes.
Yeah,
But at
so
this time, did you have an idea like what it is? Had you done any research at all into the symptoms that you're feeling?
I used to go to the library
Okay.
and get psychology books.
Okay.
So I would read and maybe know something. There's something like a nervous breakdown. There's
Yeah.
something, but I didn't see myself falling
Okay.
into one of those places. So I just overlooked.
Okay.
And I kept persevering. And now I get to Form 4 and it hits me. Time is up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time to
Yeah.
focus.
Time is up. And the fact that I would dream with me plowing and I would wake up to go and study.
Okay.
It was like an awakening, like when you're in Form 4. If you don't get a good grade, you're not going to the university.
And you really wanted that.
I really wanted to go to the university. So I at the first time I was not that serious, but I was trying to like catch up
Yeah.
for the few subjects that I was doing. I was not doing good. So first term, second term, another thing, I used to love reading motivational books.
Okay.
Think Big, you try me reading Think Big. There was another book, but I can't remember its name. It was a young man who had written from Kenya. And there was also another one. I can't really remember, but I remember a story of a guy who got an 83 from being I think a C student or something like that. So I love them. But I love motivational speakers. I know people trash them a lot online. The only issue I have is when you come to motivate me, but you don't have a strategy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
have a strategy, I would listen. So I loved reading them. So first term, second term, I do the mocks. And I have I think it was a C minus or a C. Oh, it was there. It was ranging there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, 2013,
Yeah.
the pass mark wouldn't, that wouldn't even work for me. Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
So I go back home, although the MOOCs are a bit, I find them a bit
The harder than the main exam. Yeah.
So I go back home and I'm like, so what should I do? I'm tensed. I need to go to the university. And there was a cousin ahead of me, my eldest cousin. For her, she had gotten I think it was a 74 or something, a B plus, a very
Okay.
strong B plus.
Yeah.
So she would tell me, now I've made it. Now it's your turn. So she would challenge me.
Yeah.
So I go back home and I get I get a tuition. There used to be two guys. One guy used to teach us chemistry in the morning. The other one used to be from JQuat. This guy, we never used to pay him, but the first one used to pay him 20 shillings. So I would go to that tuition. At times, I didn't even have the money because
Yeah.
I wouldn't even coordinate. Like, I wouldn't, how am I telling my shosho, oh, tuition, why were you not studying earlier and all that? And I remember going at times without money. And then the guy was like, whoever does not have money should stay outside. But then there was something happening. Me and my friend, we used to answer questions a lot. Even if we didn't know, we would pick our hands up and raise our hands up and we'll tell him, this is the answer. And he'll tell them, no, it is this one. Like here, this is where you're wrong, but this part you're okay and all that. And so when I'm outside and it's only my friend who is inside and the rest of the students, it was a boring class.
Yeah.
So he would find it so boring to the point that he would be like, just come back after the break. And I will take
Okay.
advantage because if I don't have the money, I just get in. So I went through that time. I used to have a very bad attitude
Yeah.
towards chemistry. When I was getting into Form 1, I was okay. But then the other students, the ones that are in Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, they would be like, hey, chemistry is hard.
Yeah.
I had even stopped taking notes until Form 4.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember the teacher checking my notes and he's like, you've never written notes. At times I would pay. I have an aunt who would give me like 100 shillings. But then I would be like, after I pay, I'm like, I would plan that money because I would like budget that money because we used to eat this had they're called ngumus.
Ngumus,
They used to be
yes.
so sweet. So we would contribute and get a packet and come and feast on them during break time. And so that we could stay until evening. So it's like we're just trying to
Yeah.
catch up. And that tuition helped me a lot. And then also one of my friends, she's my mentor. And this time she took my chemistry paper and I was having like a 40 something or 50 something marks. I can't quite remember. But then we went through the questions that I had failed and I would give the right answer. So she would be like, how? And I realized it's my attitude. So that one also helped me. And something else that helped me catch up within that short period of second term and that term was I would go for discussions with Form 3s, Form 2s. I didn't care. Like, I knew these guys had content fresh in their minds. So that one also helped me. And I remember praying to God and telling him, I've not given my best. Like, I've been trying. I would, because at times I would wake up early in the morning, like 3 a.m. and try to read. And then my sister would be like, who is that? Because she will hear the locks, the living room locks. And I would be like, it's me. And she would go like, it's early, go back to sleep. And I'm thinking, me, I come back to plow over here. Oh no, I need to get good marks. Yeah, so I tried my best and I told God, I know I've not really like given, you know your potential. Like even at work, when you're doing your work, this is my A.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is my B. So I knew I wasn't that serious. So I told God, if you give me a minimum, please give me a B plus. That
Yeah.
will get me to the university. If you give me a maximum, give me an A minus. Actually, the first point. I don't want the the strong
Yeah.
points. No. And I went before I went back to school now for the exam for that term. Something happened. Someone I expected to encourage me told me that I was going to fail because this is just last minute preparation.
Oh dear.
And the anxiety is not over, the depression is not over. So it crushed me. And I'm like, I'm going to fail. That is so true.
Oh no.
No, you see, it's connecting with the fact that I wasn't giving my full potential.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to fail.
Okay.
And I remember running on a certain road at home. Again, borrowed a phone, as usual. I found a guy who knew me. So I borrowed the phone. I called my mom, Auntie Esther, and I told her, Mom, I'm going to fail.
Oh.
I'm not going to make it. I just want to go back to Form 3.
Okay.
Yes, I want to rewind. And she was like, no, you're not going back to Form 3. You're not wasting your time. You go to that school, you do that exam, and be confident you're going to pass. And the opening day comes, and I go back to school, and I'm completely, I don't know. I think I had lost hope on my
Yeah.
education, and I was feeling it's true. I need to go back. It's important for parents to know that their words impact
Yes.
kids, relatives also to know that their words impact kids. And I went to my class teacher and told him, you know what, Mr. Njuguna, I want to go back to Form 3.
Yeah.
And he told me, what are you telling me, Winnie? I want to go back to Form 3. And he told me, you're not going back to Form 3. You're going to do the exam. And he encouraged me. Actually, most of the times you will see me during that term, you will see me rushing on the corridors to the staff room back. I was only having one goal, chemistry.
Right.
I wanted an A. And for English, the languages and all that, I didn't quite like
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
but I wasn't performing so bad. And so I would try and salvage the situation. So he kept on encouraging me, and I kept on with the discussions. I would also hold the discussions with the Form 4s, and the exam came. Yeah, so some of them I came out happy. Some of them I was like, hey, that one. Actually, some of them I would cry. I would come out of the laboratory crying, and the teacher would be like, Winnie, what is wrong? And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't see a breakthrough there. And as life would have it, after Form 4, you go get busy with other things.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I went to manage my uncles and aunts' preschool. So I was so busy. And the day for the results came. And I remember I was so anxious. I went to the toilet several times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm tensed. I don't know what is going to happen. And I was almost to a point of not being operational because I was so afraid.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fear was coming from. I don't think plowing is that bad again to
Yeah.
make me
Yeah.
be that scared. But then I had to face the results because I was the one who did the exam. So I couldn't check them myself because I didn't know how I would like take that failure.
Yeah.
So I told my eldest cousin, Eliza, the exams, they are here. I don't know what to do. So she's in the university. Actually, we study in the same university, University of Nairobi.
Uh-oh. So I guess you've already told us exactly how your exam results came out, but by mentioning your
Oh,
age.
yeah, sorry.
But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so she checks them and she sees a B plus of 69 points. And she tells me, you've already passed. You're coming to the university. And I'm like, ooh. A sound of relief. Like, so I'm going to the university. I won't plow. I won't. And I think I also used to see like my education is the solution to what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it's some mental like issues. So I was admitted in 2014, September, at Pakabete. The struggles are still there.
Yeah.
But then I think with the new adrenaline, I'm a university, like student. It's like I placed them like behind me. So I'm in the university, and our alumni in high school used to tell us
Yeah.
that you don't need to study when you get to the university. After you work hard in high school, in the university, you don't need to study. And I think it's a propaganda.
Hey,
I think
I
it's
mean,
so bad.
that is
Because
an
it
absolute
impacted
lie.
me.
Yeah.
It affected me, by the way, in a negative way. So I start schooling in Apakabete.
What were you studying?
I'm doing agribusiness management.
Okay.
I loved business so much.
Okay, but then you see, it's also agriculture, so you've almost taken yourself back to the plowing that you're running away from.
But I didn't know. Actually, one of the people told me agribusiness is more of business than agriculture. So I'm there, and there's this scenario that happened almost like 3 times. And the lecturer would ask a question, the students would answer in a choral verse, and I would be like, I'm the only one who doesn't know.
Aye?
So the third time, I think he asked, which method of feeding chicks is this? And everyone answered. I was the only one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it dawned on me, you're in the wrong career.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm doing is it an intra-faculty? Yeah. I'm changing the course. And I'm not even telling my shosho, the one who took me to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember writing those letters, going to the main campus, coming back. They did a lot of traveling for me too, to change my course. I had a mentor at the time and he advised me because I used to love psychology, but
Yeah.
then a relative discouraged me from transferring to psychology. And the mentor told me, if you do an education course, you're going to do some psychology
Okay.
units, and then you can master
Yeah.
you can you get a master's in psychology. So I transferred to Kikuyu campus and took business and maths.
Okay. Maths.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah. So by the time I'm transferring to Kikuyu, it's like 2 weeks to the exams. And we have, I think there was calculus 1 and basic maths. Yeah. And I didn't even have the notes.
Oh my.
Yeah. So it's time to make new friends
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get some notes.
Yeah.
And I got a few notes. I tried to study wherever I could. And I was like, I'm just doing them. And I did the exams. Thank God I didn't get a supplementary. I don't know how, but I
Okay.
got some D's.
Okay.
Yeah. And the business passion in me awakened. It decided to just,
Blossom.
yeah,
And that is the beginning of all failures, entrepreneurship and business. That's where it
sure.
starts. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I I had begun with a different business. I think it was I would get some few like blazers, and I would sell to students. Then my mentor asked me, "Hey, you're doing business?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do business. I want to own a Beats by the time I'm in third year or
Yeah.
second year." And he tells me, "I'm going to help you out." And he gave me an idea of selling candies. Yeah, the most famous one at the time, 2015, was Big Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would get them in OTC and sell them in shops. And then when I'm in class, I would place it at the door. I would sit at the door, place it there. So when you're coming in, you're going to see I have Big Daddies and you're going to buy them. So you get in, and then I would give on, the only people I would give on credit is those that I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kept doing that business, and I was so ambitious that at one point I decided I was going to sell 2 cartons of Big Daddy.
Wow.
Yeah, and they used to be 16 packets. So I would carry them on my back. I had a pink suitcase, and there's another bag that my dad had bought for me.
Yeah.
A very nice bag. So I would place some there and some on my backpack. And I remember going through those towns. Each town had a day. If it's Keno, it's today. If it's Udhiru, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I forgot to study.
Oh my goodness.
If I was studying, it was just a bit.
Yeah.
Like it was not a priority. Because I would go to OTC at 6 or 6:30, pick the candies, come sell them. And I would come back to the house at 5.
So what was your profit margin like? Were you balling? Were you just breaking even?
At times I was bowling.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
because I
from
didn't have
sweets.
competition at the time. I think it
Okay.
was just like a new candy at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So, and I would save up the money, and my mentor would be like, "You know what? You're going to own that Vitz. You're going to become a very successful businesswoman." I was like, "Yeah, that is what I want."
Okay.
I think the thrill in doing such a thing and thriving in the business was making me forget that I have anxiety or anything. Also, although I would feel a bit uneasy in social places, but I would go in confidence and encourage myself and tell myself, "You know what? I'm going to
You
make
can
it."
still. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something happened to you at around this time while you were in campus.
Yeah.
Someone new entered your life.
Uh, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, they came in that year.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the first one wasn't like a relationship thing that we had agreed on. But then it was like a lead on.
Yeah.
And I was starting to find my solace in this person. Considering the losses I had experienced before, I think I saw them as someone who can work with me and be there for me. And so this person left. I think it was even like a ghosting thing.
Oh, okay. So
And I was so hurt.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that one crushed me. And the business also had issues
Yeah.
because competitors came in.
Okay.
So I'm selling the candies at 280 a packet. But then these guys are coming with lorries.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're selling at 250.
Yeah.
So it was so bad. I couldn't keep up with the competition and the standard that I had kept because my mentor at the time used to use me as an example. Look at her; she has been in first year and she was doing this well. Now I transitioned to second year. He's like, "What's up? What's wrong with you? You've been the example," and I hate pressure.
Yeah.
And this time he was pressuring me. And I remember withdrawing from the group and deciding that I was not going to do the business. And if I was going to do it, I was just going to sell the remaining stock as like one piece instead of selling in packets because it was so tiresome. Yeah, in the first days, I was feeling my joints. I was not okay. It was so, they would ache and I'd be like, hey. But then after a week or two, I got used to it. And so I withdrew. I decided to come back to the to join the Christian Union. By the time I hadn't, because that group used to go for missions
Yeah.
and all that. I didn't
Yeah.
have a balance.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was just out there, either business, missions, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do that.
Okay.
It's not good. It's bad for your education. And so with the heartbreak and everything, depression sets in again and anxiety, although it was not that bad.
Okay.
I just withdrew from people. And so I got back to school and I got these two roommates. One of them is my friend. She's
Okay.
called Jane. And we shared a room. And I remember some of the anxiety symptoms I would experience was I would wake up in the morning knowing that I have a class at 8, prepare, but then I would just get a stomachache and a headache from nowhere.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I know that it has happened to other people who have experienced anxiety issues. Yeah, and second year is over, third year is here, first semester, and I feel terribly.
Okay.
Yeah, I got I got a retake. Yeah, there were two, and it was so bad. And I was like, what am I doing? And I remember going for the holiday, and my shosho telling me, do you know there's a relative who got a second class lower? And for that award, you cannot transition. You cannot transition direct into to do your masters.
Yeah.
Hey, and I was like, she knows. Although she didn't like say it like second lower, but she knows that is the award. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
pays the school fees on time. But I wasn't doing business because I didn't have a school fee. At times, students will be there, oh, how am I going to do my exams without my school fee has not been paid? But my shosho always paid my school fee on time. But then she did that from throughout when we were with her, because I only stayed with my uncle and auntie for 2 years. She would pay my school fees. I have never been sent home,
Yeah. Yeah.
go back for school fees or anything, and I'm so grateful for her.
Okay.
So this time I'm like, she has paid school fees. She has given me the basic needs that that like I can't stay without. What is wrong with me? I go back to school. I don't know whether it's a coincidence, but I don't take it as a coincidence. I think it was God's plan, because on one of the Sundays, a minister comes and they minister about our education. We should practice faithfulness in our education, that God has entrusted us with it for a reason. And I'm there and he says, but God can give you a second chance if you've not been faithful.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is me. This is me. I was going
Okay.
to come out of here with a lower,
Right.
with a lower,
With at least an upper.
yeah, I'm not saying Aloha is bad.
Yeah.
But then you see your potential, your parents,
Yes.
and also I really wanted to do a master's at the time. I wanted to do a psychology master's. So I go back to my room, I meditate, ponder upon those words, and I'm like, Winnie, you need to do something.
Yeah.
So also at this time comes a guy into my life. And this one I truly loved.
Yeah.
I had a strong connection, and I thought that relationship would be long term. And things were okay. But then when we went for the teaching practice, I went to Nakuru, Moi Forces, and for him, he was left behind. And things didn't work out. By the time we were still pushing through, pushing through. And throughout that year, I kept my promise to God that I was going to take this second chance. And I gave my best. And after after that year, we get to fourth year, and I keep pushing because I don't want to let my grandma down. I was like, she has done so much. She clothed me throughout. She fed me. If it's Christmas, she will come with new dresses for me. Why would I want to let her down? And I did my best. So during this time, if you didn't find me in the library, you would only find me in my hostel or in the CU
Yeah.
services and all that. And I pushed through until now, the last semester for the year. I remember going through an anxiety attack too during an exam. It was a TFD. I think it is History of Education.
Yeah.
It was a unit year. And I remember having an anxiety attack, picking my paper, dropping it on the lecturer's table and going to the field because I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know what is this. I just feel I want to die. It's like I'm almost going crazy. And the racing heart, it's so bad. I wouldn't wish that
Yeah.
for anyone. Yeah, so during this period, the last semester, I'm almost doing my last exams, and I go to meet my relative. So we go talk about my education and settling after school. So we agree that I'm going to work for 1 year, and the money that I'll have saved up, he's going to add the rest so that I can do my master's.
Right.
Yeah. So, and he gave me a phone. I didn't have a good phone at the time. He gave me a good phone. And I came back to school. I'm like so excited. I have a plan. And hell breaks loose when the guy tells me, yeah, the relationship
It's
was
over.
over. Okay, he told me in a nice way.
Yeah.
And we even discussed it, but I didn't know it broke me that bad.
Yeah.
Because I cried. And at the time, I was also knitting some mats. And I remember knitting some mats in the evening and crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
At times, I would go study, come back and cry. And I was like, I just have to push through. So I did my exams, completed them. I did my retakes. And there was one missing unit too. I forgot about that one. It was a Form 2 unit, a psychology unit. But they used to get all my psychology units A.
Yeah.
I really loved psychology.
Yeah.
So that one, I had done it, but then they didn't add the marks.
Okay.
So the lecturer tells me, go check in the psychology department, tell the guy at the reception to check the paper for you so that the marks can be added. And I went there and the guy refused to cooperate. I remember crying.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I was like, where were you? Like, and I'm like, it's just been 1 year. You can check there, you can check the paper, but he didn't check. In the end, by the way, I had to repeat the exam. this time, actually, thank God, I met a female lecturer, and she was so nice. And she even encouraged me even the time that I was crying. So I'm done with campus, heartbroken. I don't have work, but I have a house.
Okay, well, that's good. Wait,
Yeah.
at what point, because I know you have a 4-year-old son,
Yeah.
at what point did you have your child?
Yeah, so I've not yet. It's still,
Okay,
yeah,
you still
yeah,
don't have a child, but
yeah,
it's because I'd like us to get to, because obviously your son has, he's gotten you
yeah,
through a lot.
yeah,
So
sure.
when did you have him?
So I had him. So I completed my education in 2018 August. So I got my son in 2019 September. Yeah, 2019 September. That's when I got my son, and everything was okay until he was around 8, 9 months. I used to struggle with still those anxiety symptoms and depression.
Yeah.
But then it got severe when he was 8, 9 months. So that's when they were so bad. At times I wouldn't be able to coordinate normal chores. I would feel they're so overwhelming.
Yeah.
They are taking so much energy. They're racing thoughts. I think it became worse. And I contacted one friend who had studied psychology, and she gave me an assessment.
Right.
And then she told me, "Do you know what?
You've got depression and
You
anxiety.
have severe
Okay.
depression and anxiety disorder." And I'm like, wait a minute. This is what I've been suffering from.
Yeah. All of
And I
these
didn't
years.
even know. And so she took me to one of the centers where I went. It is in Lower Kabete. They give me the drugs. I started taking them. But after, I think, a few weeks or like a month, we fell out with my son's dad. So I started life from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah, and my mentor took me. We began life from there. I was passionate about being an author, but I hadn't got the chance
Okay.
to like actualize the whole like dream and everything. And she trained me article writing. I began working with her. She would refer me to other clients. That's when I began to, and she worked with me.
Okay.
Actually, didn't go back to the hospital. I didn't even go for counseling, but she would be there for me. She would support me because anytime I would be down, I would talk to her. And she also began working with me
Right.
to get back,
Okay.
like it's like my spiritual life was back.
Yeah.
My mental health is back.
Yeah.
My emotional my emotional life, everything is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she started working with me, and that's how I started life from scratch again with my son.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is where you are now. What is it like? Because I'm a parent as well, and I understand the sort of nervousness and the panic that you feel when you look at your child and you consider, I could have been thus far, but here we are. Will I be able to sustain a particular standard of life for my child? Do you ever have those thoughts, and how do you deal with them if you do?
Yeah. I think about it. I think about the kind of life
Yeah.
that I had maybe envisioned. But then I'm grateful for where I am right
Yes.
now. The fact that I'm a healthy mom,
Yes.
mentally able to to take everything that kids come with, what they
Yes.
come with.
Yes.
They can
Yes.
be quite demanding at times.
Yeah.
And I'm able even to play with him, to connect with him and bond with him. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those thoughts do come.
Yeah.
And that's why we are working hard
Yes.
towards those goals,
Yes.
so that they can go to the schools that we want them. That we wanted them to go and experience maybe the different things that we also wanted them to
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, okay, first of all, I'm really impressed that you've managed to, keep it together, no matter everything that you've gone through.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you're in such a good phase, of your life. I am really happy for you and your book once again. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find this book where you find the details of everything that Winnie has told us about her life, and you can find it at Global Scroll Publishers Limited. So we'll put the details there on the screen for you. You may reach out to them and find out where you can collect your copy of this book. Now then, Winnie, thank you so much for your time. That was a huge story, and I think it is important for every person who has a child in high school, right, and is about to sit an exam, to get them prepared, what the child might be going through and to understand how to support them. And I just want to say thank you for your time and thank you for sharing your fantastic story with us.
You're welcome.
Okay. And we will see you all next week for another one just like this one.